Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest, check this out. You may have seen him on Amazon Video, True TV, HBO Max. He's the creator of the Quality Comedy series. He's the co-host to Living 757. I even hired him once to beat me up in my own music video. He's my personal Girl Scout cookie dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, yo, with so much gratitude, I present to you Quincy Carr.
What's going on, man? I did not know that I've been downgraded to a Girl Scout cookie hustler. You know, I'm so upset about that. I did that for about 5 years, bro.
Right.
And not one that, like, all the work that we do as parents that help these girls, like, we're out there, like, we're the reason why they're out there, like, on the corners to push these cookies on people right after we make our New Year's resolutions about losing weight. After 5 years of that, bro, not one patch, not one Girl Scout patch, not one badge, bro. I am so hurt by that, man. It's a lot of work, man.
Wow. Hey, look, you know what? Like my favorite, the s'mores.
Yeah.
And
so those are the newer favorites. Yeah.
Oh my man.
And the who?
The mint thins.
Oh yeah. You mean the thin mints? Let me give it. The thins. Like, what are those, like wheat thins?
Oh my god, yeah.
The thin mints.
Thin mints, yeah.
And then they drop some new ones too.
Yeah.
Crap, I cannot remember what the new ones were, but I know that they sold quick, and so I said, "Let me get a box."
Man,
I tore that whole box up. Yeah. See, the Samoas used to be my favorite.
Yeah,
I think my palate has changed. I'm getting older. I'm in my 40s, dog. Like, my palate has changed.
Wow.
So it's no more Samoas. So it's like the trefoils. Yeah. Oh, Thin Mints. I grew to enjoy the Thin Mints because I did not like Thin Mints at first. So I grew to enjoy those. So man. But 5 years, bro. Not one patch to say congratulations, parent.
Not one.
I risked life and limb to get these cookies. I was pushing these cookies, driving all over town, just to get her numbers up.
Right.
Not one patch.
Not one patch.
Not one.
Listen, we need a patch sent immediately.
I'll put it right here on
this
my
man
shoulder.
right here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but man, it's good to see you again, bro.
Man, it's good to see you, man. And again, thank you so much, man. You know, you are really out here, man, making a difference. And it's like you're hungry about reaching that level of success that you have in your mind that, you know, you are destined to accomplish. And I say that because, you know, earlier today, we had like a little miscommunication with the team and everything. Y'all, like, Quincy called me like, yo, you know, this and that. And your man, like, instead of just like tapping out, he showed up, yo. And I'm just like, yo, this man is on HBO. He's on True TV, like LOL Network. And I mean, I know him personally, but still, it's like to see that ambition, like, to see that drive. Man.
Look, man, you reached out to me. And I was on, oh gosh, it was a cruise ship because I do the cruise ship gigs, right? And so I just happened to be able to see the message that you sent because I happen to have data. And so, of course, I'm communicating back and forth. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm going to tell you why this is important to me. Because there's an opportunity to, you know, be interviewed, but also to chop it up with a like-minded individual. But I recently got reached out to by this media group. And they're talking about, yeah, we would love to do an article on you. So I'm like, all right, cool. But what they wanted me to do is to answer all these questions, to talk about myself, to type up all my life's history and story. And then they take that and then they put it in an article. You're not a journalist if you're doing it like, I don't want to talk about myself in that way where I gotta, and I did all this and I did all that. I did all that. And then you take those words and you may change some words if you want to, but you just basically copy and paste. And I'm like, no, not that I'm beyond talking about myself in that way, but just to talk to somebody and you know, and have them get a take on what it is that I do. Like that was more so. That's why. I mean, I was on my way over here. I was like, I'm not gonna turn around.
Wow.
I mean, if you would have told me, look, there's no way to do it being here physically, then yes, I would have turned around and then we either would have set up a different time frame or something. But you said, no, man, I could set it up in my house. All right, I'm on my way.
Wow, amazing. You know, and the first season, I'm reaching out to people that I have a connection with, like a personal connection with, or people that, you know, I can pick up my phone and text or call. And, you know, you are one of those people. Like, so thank you so much, man.
No doubt.
Like, you know, like when I call Quincy, like Quincy shows up. You know, in the intro, I joked about it, but he was in my first independent music video.
I remember that.
You know, and, you know, family events, you know, like, you know, I'll call him up and he'll be there. You know what I'm saying, man? So thank you so much. Quincy, like, so let's go back for a little bit. You were born in Texas.
Yeah, Houston, Texas.
We're in Virginia. So tell me about that.
The aliens, bro. Oh man, I was born in Houston, raised in Austin, Texas, which is now the most popping city in Texas. But it was not popping when I was growing up. And then I left there after I graduated high school and joined the Navy. And I was in boot camp in Chicago. And my first duty station after I finished my schooling for the job that I was supposed to be doing in the military, Norfolk, Virginia. So it's crazy, bro, how my life, if we got that much time, you'll see how my life, because of this one decision to be stationed in Norfolk versus San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up here. And after I got out in 98, I said, you know what? I can go back home and get into or avoid the pitfalls that I was dealing with prior to leaving, or I can just stay here and make a life for myself. So I met my wife. That's where I started doing comedy. That's where, I mean, I got my barber's like everything in my life happened right here in this area.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard you mention your wife. I heard you mention earlier about, you know, being a father that supports his child.
Oh yeah.
How was it growing up? You know, were you raised by your parents?
Yeah. So my stepdad, you know, is the reason why I'm the guy that I am today. My biological father, who passed away in 2020, I finally got a chance to meet him back in 2001. And then it was at that point I said, you know what? I have a dad. I don't need this dude in my life because, you know, he was just doing some things that I just needed confirmation on because I didn't really know of him growing up. And then I got to the point where I was 40. I was about to turn 40 and I shot my first comedy special. And I decided to finally make that connection and reach back out to him. And so I spent the last 3 years of his life getting a chance to know him and rekindling that. But just overall, my stepdad, my mom, 2-parent household, we pretty much always lived in safe areas, cul-de-sacs, if you will. So I always let folks know. Then I had a younger brother and an older sister that I grew up with. And I got like 2 other sisters with my biological father that I just probably found over the last decade.
Yeah. You know, we see you on stages all over the world. But you are,
do?
Yeah, well, I think we do, you
all
know,
over the world?
All over the world, because you're doing the cruise ship, you're doing.
Yeah, but when can I see those? Because I've never seen them. Like, y'all see them. I just want to sit back and watch. Just sit back and.
You know, what I believe you are also, you know, you are an artist as well, but I think you're a father first. I mean, would you agree? You're a father first. And how important is it to implement those, you know, those morals and that good character into your children based on the youth or the childhood that you had?
Man, that's a crazy question, because my wife and I, we talk about this a lot. Like, we parent so well together, because the household she grew up in, miles different than the household I grew up in. Wow. She grew up in a household where there was alcoholism, and, you know, her mom was like a homemaker, and her dad was the 9 to 5. Go same job every day, come home every day. The household I grew up in, both my parents worked. They worked extremely hard. There wasn't any visible, like any type of substance abuse that I know of. But we also had this thing where if there was any need to squash an issue, it was always, let's talk, everybody, let's come to the kitchen table. So I grew up with this communication thing, like not harboring in anything. My wife did not. So as we dated and included being engaged for 6 years, and then we finally got married back in 2003. And we had already established how we would parent. Number one, we said that we would wait a minimum of 3 years so we can get a chance to know each other as a married couple.
Before you had children?
Yes.
Wow.
And then that turned into 6 years. It wasn't done on purpose. It's just how it worked. But we at least planned, a minimum of 3 years.
Wow.
So when it came time to being a parent, the one thing I remember my dad telling me was, son, like when we found out that that the baby was going to be a girl, he said, son, keep her close to you. I didn't really understand what that meant, more so now. Like I understand it now versus back then. And I think he was coming from a place where he had a son with my mother, but he was really never the father to my sister that I think he felt like he could have been. So now I understand it, so we parent in a way where we both agree that we're not raising a child, we're raising a future productive adult in society.
Wow.
And for a lot of people, they don't know how to really take that. It's not like we talk about adult issues around her, but we're willing to talk because that's the environment that I came up in. We talk and we don't keep things hidden. Obviously, if there was something like, if she's like, we're really young, and let's say me and her mother were going through a rough time and we were talking about separation and or divorce, you don't really put that burden on the child, right? But if you're talking about the reality of things, the consequences of not doing something, we relate that to eventually being an adult.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I remember my dad, when I was 9, would be like, hey, in 9 years, you're going to be 18. What are you going to do with your life?
Wow.
So I always remember preparing for the inevitable. And if God blesses you with another day to breathe that air, then you know that you're going to see another day where you're going to be older than you were the day before. Wow. So you got to prepare and always be ready for the next move. And so that's kind of how we raise our child.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you mention your wife, and there's like this cliche phrase, beside every powerful man, there's a more powerful woman.
And it's funny because they always say behind every good man, and there's a good woman. And my wife was like, I'm not going to be behind you in any way. If I'm behind you, my hand is there to push you, but I'm on your side. Yeah. And I feel like the same way too. Like, I don't want you behind me. I want to use my peripheral. Is that how you say it? Peripheral. I want to know you on the side, not constantly looking over my shoulder. So So that's a very important.
This new age that we're living in, I don't think a lot of them believe in marriage.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that.
I mean, how could you, man? Like, look at what's easily accessible. Social media and obviously TV and radio, podcasts now. Everything is so accessible. Reality TV for like the past 2 decades has just been this thing where you just get involved in people's lives. And TMZ, they don't assist either. So why would this generation believe in marriage when everything that's posted is all about, or everything that's available is all about, oh, these people got a divorce. Oh, these people were caught doing this. Oh, these people were doing it. You'd be like, okay, so I'll just be these people.
Right. Wow.
Because we morph into what we're always exposed to. I think as a society, just globally, I mean, everything is just so accessible, but you don't never see many things that portray marriages and portray staying together and all that stuff. It's all about, oh, this person was doing something bad. This person is getting a divorce. This person is doing this. And people just be like, well, shoot, if that person is doing it and they're successful, why do I need to be?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Quincy, I heard that communication is very important in relationships, right? But then I discovered that 85 to 90% of communication is body language.
Yeah, and I'm still struggling with it. I mean, bro, I've been married 20 years, bro. But the same person for 27 of those years. And I still struggle with the body language, and you know, and that's on both ends. So if you're talking about, you know, like what's your love language, or, you know, like how do you avoid negative situations, and, you know, it's how you slouch, how you talk, how you respond, how you move and do all that. Like, it's all important. And like I said, I'm still struggling. You know, even after all these years, there's still like those moments where you say something and then your lady is like, why would you say that? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't mean it. Oh, I did not mean it that way. Why did we have to do it? I'm just saying, if you don't want to talk about it, be like, no, how did we get here? So yes, I'm still struggling.
Quincy, growing up in Austin, Texas, I hear you speak a lot about some of the discrepancies that you had to grow up with as a kid. One of those discrepancies I also grew up with as well, a speech impediment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, and it's so funny because I grew up with the speech impediment. Do you remember the phonics? Like, they called it hooked on phonics.
Okay, so I remember it.
Yeah,
but I never.
You never did it?
No.
All right. Well, we were kind of bougie. We grew up.
I mean,
suburban area.
I mean, I grew up in the cul-de-sac, bro.
Well, I mean, I grew up in Norview, like, so I grew up in Norview, but we moved on up a little bit. And we could afford some phonics, but it came on an LP. Yo, I'm aging myself, and I never do that publicly, bro. So they came in like the small little LPs. And my mom would put the LP on the record player. And it would be like this old white guy, like, Boat. Right.
And you'd be saying it right on.
Because I would, boom. Yeah, like I would stutter real bad. And the funny thing about it is I became a professional recording artist. Isn't it amazing how God can take something and equip you with what you need to move forward according to your purpose?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something. I rarely told this story on a public platform. So I had no intentions of being like a public figure, like an actor, comedian, whatever, right? I watch that stuff on TV. I love watching funny movies and comedies, but never once did I ever say, I'm gonna be a comedian, I'm gonna be an actor. I always knew I'd be an entrepreneur. I knew I was gonna be a barber as an entrepreneur. I was gonna own my own shop. When I got out the Navy, because I had dealt with stuttering for like a long time. When I got out the Navy, the first course I took at TCC, public speaking, right? And I took that because I said, look, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I mean, I may have to speak in front of a lot of people. I want to just make sure that, you know, that's my first course that I take, you know, and not even realizing, bro, that was really the catalyst to what I ended up becoming, a person who I still struggle with stuttering. I just don't do it in front of people I don't know. So I don't know them. Wow. Like if it was just me and you, I probably have a couple of, but in front of people I don't know, that's why when I look at it, I've been able to have people be like, hold up, you stutter? I would never know that. Because I don't know audiences when I'm performing. All of them are new. My TV audience, I don't know them because all of them are new. So my brain just says, these people don't know you. Focus and speak clearly. But once I know people and I'm comfortable, oh my gosh, like it's just a constant. Like my wife can tell you, I mean, she finishes sentences which pisses me off sometimes because it's like I was almost there. Don't finish. I'm right there. Don't finish that sentence. But yeah, man, that was the first course that I took in college, not even knowing that my occupation would be entertaining, speaking in front of, or
Amazing.
just talking to people.
I didn't even know you went to TCC. I went to TCC too.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
But I went for like a year and a half, and Universal sent the first check, and I quit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right, because you had the recording.
Yeah, Universal Motown. Yeah.
Wow.
They sent the very first check. It wasn't a lot, but it was more money than I, I'm from, yeah. And I was like, okay, this is what I can look forward to. I'm out.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, conversations in the mirror, directly and maybe indirectly, I'm speaking to those that I see myself in.
Right.
And I never even knew you went to TCC.
Yeah,
I knew you went to college, but I didn't know it was TCC. Mm-hmm. You also served our country in the military.
Yeah.
That's what brought you to Virginia, as you mentioned earlier. Service. When you're a barber, you're serving, and when you are in the military, you are serving. What is service, and how is service important to you? You're also serving your audience as well when you do comedy.
Right. Well, I mean, serving is truly all about purpose. And if you have a passion for what you do, as I tell people, your passion drives your purpose. If you don't have a passion, then what is your purpose? So serving for me became my passion. Wow. Just finding a way to bring happiness, to make people feel better. And again, like I knew I'd be a barber, right? Because my dad used to jack my hair up, and I would go to school and I would be like, I want to have an edge up like everybody else. Like he was cutting my hair, I was looking like Pookie from New Jack City.
Oh, man.
Just an all-in-one cut, no lineup, no differentiation of fades and nothing.
Wow.
And I kept telling him, I said, I want to cut my own hair. And he was like, no, you need to go to the barbershop if you don't want me to cut it. Like, I would go to the barbershop, and nothing made me more happy than me serving myself, than me taking care of myself. Because if I can make myself happy, I knew I could make other people happy. Same thing with my comedy. If it makes me laugh, if I'm thinking about it, chances are I can deliver it in a way that's going to translate and make other people laugh.
Yeah. So
just being able to serve and do for others, that's always been just the foundation of who I am. And I get it honestly from my mom. She's do everything for everybody, and almost to the detriment of our own health. And in some cases, like trying to get her to learn to stop doing it. She's 70 now, but she still feel like she got to send everybody a card. She feel like she got to do everything for everybody. It's like, take care of yourself. Live these years. And I'm saying it as a person that still, takes care of other people and try to do all that stuff. So serving for me is always the base.
Wow. Wow. Quincy, you are a well-known comedian. We're talking about the likes of some of the people you've worked with: Kevin Hart, B. Simone, Samoa, who's one of my favorites. He's a queen of comedy.
Yeah, queen of comedy.
Yeah. How do you expand your audience without losing who you are?
That's funny, man. Like, this person was asking me just the other day. There's a very popular food vlogger in the area. His name is Yummo Bucko. He basically goes around to restaurants all over the area, the state, and now across the country, because he's that big now. But he's from here, and we work together. And we ran into each other the other day, and he said, I got a question, because he's more faith-based. But being a part of the world, being exposed and expanding, not to say that you get out of that, but you get exposed to more things that can lead to temptation of whatever that is, right? And he said, how do you stay focused on on being the person that you say that you are? And I said, because my name is all I have in terms of what I came into the world with to own. So my word, my name, all of that means a lot to me. So with my brand of comedy being quality comedy, it's clean adult humor. I'm quick to tell people, don't put me in a category of church, gospel, Christian, and all that type of stuff. I go to church, I believe in God, but clean is not church. Clean is just, you just find out what your version of clean is. I mean, because if you look at TV clean, they got cursing all over the place, but they don't say certain words, or they don't show certain acts. So my brand that I created about 12, 13 years ago is called Quality Comedy. And I recently had it trademarked. So now I own, thank you, bro. Wow. So now I own that Quality Comedy, and people can't, you better stop using that Quality Comedy. But it just means clean adult humor that can go anywhere. So I can talk about everything from sex to drugs to politics. I don't even get into politics, but I can talk about all subjects. I just take the vulgar and the profanity out. So you get the same type of comedy you would normally get in a regular environment. Just no profanity. And for people, they think, oh, it's clean. Oh, it's going to be corny. You're going to be talking about the Bible. Be like, you can miss the show if you want to, but you'll be looking for the same type of stuff. And truth be told, a lot of people, they want to laugh without all that extra stuff. So when I say I stick to what I've built, it sometimes traps me in a way that it makes people think, oh my gosh, you're this, godly person and you don't make any mistakes. You'd be like, please don't do that to me. Don't do that. Like, it's just a brand. So that's how I just maintain. I know my name is Quincy Carr. My brand is quality. And that's what I want to make sure I present with every breath that I have, to just put my best foot forward. Just as an example, how you were giving me praise for, I could have easily just turned around and went back. And in your mind, be like, I know we messed up and not send him the right stuff. But I mean, he could have at least made an attempt to, something.
Man, look.
And I don't want anybody to ever think that of me, that I'm a quitter or I hit the first obstacle. Okay, I'm out.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, I'm already heading that way. Okay, cool. As long as you weren't in Richmond. So yeah.
Quincy, working with Kevin Hart, what advice did he give you?
So this was right before Kevin blew up. This was in 2007. We did a show in Petersburg, and I was the feature act, which meant there's your host, there's your feature, and then there's your headliner. So that was back when he was traveling with no entourage. It was just him. And we had 2 shows in one night. And the second show, the first show I did my thing, but the second show I did my thing. While the host was back out there to kind of do announcements and do a little bit more jokes before he brought out Kevin says, you're a pretty tough act to follow, man. He said, me, I don't care. He used some curse words. He said, but me, I don't care. Like, I want that type of a challenge to already have a crowd hot, and then you got to be the headliner, because at the time his biggest claim to fame was Soul Plane. So that was what he was headlining these clubs on, the fact, hey, from the movie Soul Plane. And he was working on his very first comedy special, Grown Little Man. And that was,
I remember that.
Yeah,
I think I remember that.
Yep, because that dropped in 2008, I want to say. And when he told me that I was a tough act to follow, it didn't necessarily mean I was the funniest, but it meant that I had the ability to grab an audience's attention, keep an audience's attention based on what my presence were, and I can have them laugh at my jokes. And so he said, watch out, because a lot of headliners won't want to have you on the show with them if you're going to make it tough on them. And when he told me that, I took that to heart, and I said, okay. And not mentioning any names, but I did run into a few headliners that were like, number one, I was funny, and I was like attractive on stage, meaning I was easy to digest, my presence and all that. But when I didn't curse, I didn't have to curse to be funny. If they cursed a lot, they would follow me with the cursing. And afterwards, they would hear the chat, hey, you were much funnier, and you didn't even have to do all that extra language. And these weren't church audiences. It was just some people that was like, yeah, like, you made me laugh just as hard as he did, but he or she did the extra cursing, and you didn't have to. So I took that advice to heart, and I just started saying, okay, I want to build my own platform and not have to worry about, who's going to let me open for them so I can maybe be seen. I said, let me try to build my own thing and see if I can make it work just based off that advice he gave me.
The queen of comedy.
Samora, that's my girl.
How is it working with Samora? She's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, she's dope, man. She found me. It was a video I posted when I was at Chrysler Hall. So I've been blessed to perform at Chrysler Hall 4 times in my career. First time was with Ricky Smiley. The second time was with Bruce. Third time was with Gary Owen, and my 4th time was ironically with Samora. So anytime they come in town, so backstory, she discovered me after my 2nd time at Chrysler Hall because I put up this funny clip. And the booker / promoter, she reached out to him and said, who is this guy that was on the show that you booked? And he told her. And so her manager asked me if I would come to the Richmond Funny Bone to meet them and consider potentially being a writer for her and an opening act. And this was back in 2008, I want to say. And so I was so stoked about that. I was like, wow, man, Samora, like, wow, you know. And so so I opened for her for a few years. And every time they're in the area, like they reached out to me to go back to my hometown and open for her. And I just happened to already be booked elsewhere. And I'm like, oh, I can't change that booking just to do this. I mean, the fact that they reached out to me lets me know that after all these years, they still will reach out. Anytime they come here, like the last time I was at Chrysler Hall, her manager gave me some tickets and I showed up, and then he texted me, and I'm sitting, I don't know if you've ever been in Chrysler Hall, but I'm sitting on the bottom area, not at the front, but more in the middle. And I'm already talking to certain people, and it's been certain folks, hey, aren't you the guy from, hey, that's the guy from TV. Hey, I get a picture. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm just sitting and chilling. I look at my phone, and it's the manager said, hey, come backstage. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, and this was nothing new. It was like, y'all know me. You invited me backstage. So as I'm getting backstage, I see this next text. He said, what intro song do you want to come up to? I'm like, oh, you want me to do Time? And so for a lot of comics, it was filled up. That place was crazy packed. And I'm like, I didn't really come there to perform, but you remember what I was saying earlier about how we raise our daughter to be prepared for the moment. Wow. We all know that old saying, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So although I didn't come there to perform, when he told me or asked me, what intro song do you want? I knew at that moment, this ain't the time to be like, oh, I didn't, because he wanted me to go out and welcome the audience because she was the host. Yeah. And he wanted me to welcome the audience and then introduce her to the stage. But he wanted me to do like a good 6-7 minutes up front. I'm like, no problem. So it's just moments like that. Like, she's such a down-to-earth person. The respect that I have for her and she have for me. She know I'm a clean comic. She's still, the type of comic that uses a bunch of language on stage. But I've always loved her style because she performs comedy like guys, right? Not like a woman. A woman in some cases always talks about women type things. Yeah. But the women that perform like men, they talk about everything, right? And they can be just as funny. And it's no disrespect to female comics that talk about female stuff, but she always had the ability to make, like, I can look in the audience and see men just like, yo, that's crazy funny. And women be like, yo, that's what I'm talking about, girl. Right? So that was what gravitated me towards really just enjoying her as a personality and as a person.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Your special, Too Young for 40.
Daddy jokes.
I'm telling you how much you being gay doesn't bother me. If you are actually doing certain things that piss me off while you're being gay, that kind of bothers me. But being gay does not bother me. Case in point, I'm at the stoplight behind this car. I think it was like a geo-tracker, right? Behind this car. So these two, I don't know why they came out, but I'm right behind, and then the light turns green. These two individuals loving on each other, just reaching over, and they just kept missing, and we missed the light. So I'm like, dudes, go. Let's go. So apparently I upset them because they can see me in the rearview mirror, and they continue and we miss another light. And so I'm like, let's go. So I get so upset, I just honk my horn and I say, you want me to hit you from behind? I had to watch out how you deliver a threat. So they decided to go. And every time I tell this story, people think that I'm upset because these guys were kissing and loving on each other. No, I just think it's disgusting that in 2016, somebody is still driving a geo-tracker. Like that really bothers me.
It was filmed right here in the Hampton Roads area.
Yeah, man.
I want to know what inspired that material. And I also want to know who your stylist was.
Yeah.
Because the tie at the square bottom,
yeah,
I don't have many of those. So where can I find,
bro,
a tie with a square bottom?
You missed the details she put into that.
Right.
The tie clip was a pair of scissors.
Wow.
Because I was a barber.
Okay.
But how that whole special came about, and my stylist, by the way, she's still my stylist.
She's
today.
By the way,
Roxanne Smith.
Yes, stylist, you are phenomenal at what you do. Yeah.
Roxanne Smith, Alpha Custom Clothiers. She's out of NYC, and she's been in this area pretty much probably for the last decade and a half. Well, maybe 2 decades now. But she started her own business. She dresses WNBA players, draft picks that's getting ready to go to the draft. So I'm like, and I'm on that roster, coach.
Yeah.
But that special came about in 2016. I put that whole thing together in like a span of 3 or 4 months. Now, you know about production. You don't just decide to shoot. You got to get the camera people. You got to get everything. You got to make sure that your material is together and all that stuff. And so what I did was I made this trip out to LA, which was my second trip. First trip was in 2013. Second trip was in 2016. And in 2016, I said, man, look, nobody is coming to Virginia to give me a shot. At the time, Netflix was starting to become even more popular. And I'm seeing these comedy specials on there and Comedy Central. I'm like, nobody's coming here to say, hey, we want to give you a comedy special. I said, but you know what? I've shot my own DVD back in the day, a comedy DVD. I said, but I want to shoot my own special. I said, let me go out to the land of where all major entertainment is, and I'm going to just link up with some people over a span of 5 days and just try to, see who can I link up with that can give me good ideas on how I can shoot my own special and what it would take to potentially get it picked up. And I linked up with a few people, and before I knew it, I came back home because that was the same week that Prince died is when I was there. And I performed at some of the best comedy spots, and I talked with some really good people. And I came back to VA, and I said, all right, I'm going to shoot my own special. So I found the Barry Robinson Theater. And at the time, I found out no one had ever shot a comedy special in Virginia Beach. And so I said, well, that's where my career started.
You're the first person to shoot a comedy special.
As far as I know, I'm the first one to shoot a comedy special, not a comedy DVD. It's been a lot of those shots. But to actually shoot, like, I'm talking the way that looked, and to me, it wasn't the best. It wasn't what I envisioned, but it was done. And it looked good enough to get picked up for the streaming platform. It was called Fubo TV back then. It doesn't exist now. So it was good enough to get picked up then. And now I'm trying to actually put it on Tubi. Because I got a connection that can, like he said, if it fits all the parameters, we can definitely throw it up there and see how to do. But that's how I came up with the idea. And at the time I was 39, I was turning 40, and I said, let me just do something that's just out of the box. And I said, I'm gonna call this Too Young for 40, because black don't crack. So everyone's always like, you don't even look like you're in your 40s. And I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna call it, Too Young to Be 40, with because that's the way I felt. So
Yeah.
too young for 40.
Understood. They say the same thing that makes you laugh may make you cry.
Yeah.
What's something that no matter how hard you try, you just can't laugh about it?
I don't know, because as a comic, the trouble I get into, like with my wife, she always says, "You see this block of ice? That's what you are inside." So, as a comic, my most uncomfortable moments are when people are crying or when people are sad. So it's natural for me to always try to find something to lighten things up. There's very little that I don't find funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I see the glass half empty, glass half full. So that means I'm always going to try to find the positive in any negative situation. And unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with as comedians, watching or performing for audiences that are in this, ooh, I'm offended, if not just for me, for this other person that you could have been talking about. So now you can't laugh at something that's naturally funny because you're overthinking it. And so I've never allowed myself to feel like I can't laugh at life. It's one comic who just got his teeth done. Now he's got like pretty white teeth.
Yeah.
And this guy, Joey, said, "Man, ever since you got your teeth fixed, man, everything, like you find every reason to smile." And dude was like, and like, and so he gives an example. He's like, "Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, your mama died." You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's not much that I don't allow myself to find the humor in, which I think keeps me where I am in life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very tough to just, I mean, it's tough to watch, you know. So last week, prior to taping an episode on the show, Living 757, I got this text message, and that text message just broke me down. And the text message, essentially, without going too much into it, it had to do with my character and what somebody felt because I did something which, in the grand scheme of it, it wasn't the best thing to have done. But if you knew my character, you knew that that wasn't my intent. And so the way I was being treated because of that gesture or that move that I made, it really, like, I got that text message and I'm like, I'm supposed to be preparing for this show, but I'm just really, I'm trying to figure it out. And so my co-host was like, "Are you okay, kid?" Because they can always tell, because I'm always upbeat. And they're like, you're not joking like you normally joke. You're not laughing. Like, I could tell that something's wrong. I'm like, no, I just got to get myself out of it. I just got to get myself out of it. So I just kept telling them, I just got to get myself out of it. I knew what I had to do. I just couldn't. Yeah. You know, and I tried. Yeah. So that's probably the closest to not finding a reason to smile. But never am I in a position where I'm just like, no, that's just not funny. And I'm not going to laugh. No, I'm going to be like, I know that's not funny, but there's got to be a funny side to it. And that's what I'm always exploring, something that makes that turns a negative into a positive.
Wow. Quincy, I want to play a game. I'm going to throw out a word, and I would like you to give me your one word definition. Cool?
Okay.
Quincy, what's your definition of father?
Father, pride.
Pride. Elaborate on that, if you may.
Well, so like the lion, right? Which ironically, I am a Leo, but the lion is the king of its pride. And when I look at being a father, I look at being the king, not necessarily to a queen and to a princess, being the one that they are looking to get things right or to make them feel secure. And so when it comes to being a father, that's the only thing that I can think about is how can I keep them feeling secure. So pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. In one word, define entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Quality. Quality. Because when it really boils down to it, that's the one thing that sets you apart from other people. You can be good.
Yeah.
You can have the best skill in the world. You can have the best level of articulation regarding customer service. But what's the level of quality that you are presenting?
Wow.
And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to produce a product.
Yeah.
And that product at some point has to have a level of quality in it that just makes people need more and more of it and want or be intrigued at least. Yeah.
What's your definition in one word? Comedy.
Comedy. Well, I would say funny. And that's just short of what I always say with regards to comedy, whether it's profanity, gospel-based, corporate, clean, or my brand, quality comedy. Funny is funny if it's funny.
Funny is funny if it's funny.
Yeah. Like if it's funny and you don't want to laugh, that's not on us. That's what I tell the audience. If you can't laugh at something that's funny, that's on you. You are going through something in your mind that's not allowing you to understand. Funny is funny if it's funny.
Yeah.
But if you want to pick it apart and say, well, that's not funny because, now hold up. Stop thinking about why it's not funny and understand what I just said or what you just heard from any other comic. Everybody is laughing except for you. Only because maybe you experienced it personally. That's what makes it not funny. You got to get out your head. Funny is funny if it's funny. So when it comes to comedy,
funny is funny if it's funny.
The word funny,
is
what describes it.
One more for you. What is your definition of God?
God. I would say trust. And it's one of the toughest things for me to understand. So I'm always on one side of the fence or on the other. I'm never on the fence trying to figure out where to go. I say that to say with everything in my life, I intentionally pick a side. Maybe military, a part of my brain. I don't know, but I just make a decision. And so with how I finally started going to church with my wife, she was a little probably, I think our daughter was 2 or 3, and my wife was feeling like she needed to start going to church. And like a lot of us, we grow up in households where the mother is real, is really the person that keeps the family in church, and the dad's like, hey, I ain't trying to do all that. And so I watched my stepdad. He did that a lot. And I knew my mom wanted him to go to church to complete the year, but because of how he grew up, he was completely tainted by church and every part of it. And so I was never tainted by church in any way. I just thought, I ain't trying to go to church, man. You know what I'm saying? Why do I get up on Sunday and do all that? And when I finally made the decision, my wife was going to a certain mega church here in the area, and I kept getting invited to this other church multiple times. And sorry if this is a long.
No.
But
I want your answer.
Okay. So I started getting invited to the church that we currently go to, and that's the Mount out in Chesapeake, big church. And I was invited to it the first time, and I walked in, and this is no joke. I was invited to it because they had John Gray, who's now a pastor. I think he's under.
I met him before.
He's under who's the white guy?
Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen. So John Gray was a Christian comic prior to becoming a pastor. So they had John Gray at the church, and I went to this church, and we're sitting there, and we're watching them perform, and I'm just man, that's a lot of money around here. It's a lot of people. I'm thinking business, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur, kind of new at it, about 5 or so years, and I'm just like, man, that's a lot of potential money. And I do a clean comedy show, church people like, I can be bringing flyers. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of people up in here. And so I leave, and then I don't think about going to the church again. Then I get invited to the church again. And I go to that church, and my mind is not even thinking, just be there for God, just be there for the word. I'm looking at all this money around.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Bishop Kim Brown, who's now recently retired, he was on the stage or at the pulpit, and I'm not even listening to what he's talking about. I hear him talking, but I'm not listening because I'm just like, look at all these entrepreneurs, all this money around here. And it was almost like he heard me. And he said, now I know some of you are, whether you're visitors or whether you've been in this church for a while, you're a member, and you probably be up in this church thinking, look at all this money. And I thought, oh no, I am not ready to be in church, man.
Wow.
And I said, if that just happened, I'm not ready. So a few years go by, my wife is starting to go to a church, and I remember telling her, I said, in order for me to not be the person that my father was, that my dad was to us, I gotta let her know I'm the head. I was just talking about pride. I'm the head of the household. So I made a decision, and I said, I tell you what, I've been invited to this one church, about as big as the church that you've been visiting, because she was this close to becoming a member at that other church. I said, I tell you what, I know you've been asking me to go to church. It's not really my thing, but I will give it a shot. I said, if we can go to this church, and if you like it, you got my word that I will commit and go to church on Sundays. She went. She said, I think it's pretty cool. And then we knew a few people that went there as well. And she's like, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I said, all right.
Yeah.
That's my word.
Wow.
And so ever since 2014 is when we later became members of that church in 2015, but 2014 is when I changed to say, wow, I got to put my foot down, and I got to actually say something, do something that will mean something. And then as our daughter got older, we were always going to church together. And so it became a family thing.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so
Quincy, what an amazing definition. Trust. What an amazing definition. What an amazing story.
Thank you, man.
Very poignant as well.
That's a big word.
I be trying.
That's a big word.
I be trying,
I went to TCC just like you. Yeah. Where did you learn that word? Where did you learn poignant?
Oh, my man. Yo, Quincy, reading. You are well-rounded. You are the entrepreneur. You are the father. You are the husband. You are the host. You are the producer. You are the comedian. Yeah. You are the human that most humans strive to become. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, my man.
I'm so excited to see you, and I'm so excited to have you as a friend. Tell us what you are working on. Where can we find you? What you got next? What's bubbling? What we got? What's in the oven right now?
So I was just talking about an opportunity to take the Quality Comedy series, which I've been doing since 2010. So I'm currently, due to the break that we took with COVID, we just came back last year for the first time, and now we're into the second year back since COVID. But I brought down Omar Gooding. Y'all know who he is from Baby Boy, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother. Wow. Brought him down to kick off this new season, and from that he was so just like he was in love with how I ran my show, and eventually I was the first ever comedy platform that he ever performed without cursing on. Wow. And he said, man, you got something here. And he said, I know the person directly at Tubi. And he said, because I just got my comedy series put on Tubi. He said, I know they do they'd be putting up a lot of horrible productions, but there's money in it. Wow. And there's exposure in it. And so he said, if you can shoot your series, your quality comedy series, and get it edited and ready for TV, we could get it in front of him, and chances are he'll put up. So that's one thing I want to work on.
Yeah.
Of course, I do my annual fundraiser comedy show I do every year called Crash the Party.
Yeah.
It's where I give back to the community. Been doing that since 2009, with a couple of breaks in between. So last year when I did it for the first time since COVID,
yeah.
I changed the focus to completely be about giving back to people that have near and dear to my heart and yours, obviously. So people with speech impediments.
Yeah. Wow.
So I raised proceeds from that show and I donated to a program that helps people with speech impediments.
So proceeds of the show go to that charitable.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I linked up with the speech department at ODU.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I just texted her to let her know my next date I have set and I would like to donate to the program again. And she was like, oh my gosh, we are all for it. And I said, do you have an update on the person who used the funds that I did last year? She said, yep. And she gave me the update. I said, wow, this is going to be so crazy impactful for this year when that person is able to show up and let folks know that in attendance. Because of this show, this event, I've been able to get the help that I've been needing for a long time, and I had no idea who this Quincy Carr person was.
Amazing.
So yeah. So I got a couple of things, including I got cast in a movie that I'm gonna start shooting. I got like the small role in it, but they're actually shooting it here.
What?
So yeah. So I'll be playing that. I haven't done a movie since the first one I did. That's on Amazon Prime, Employee of the Year. So I haven't done a movie since then.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Amazing.
So I got a couple of things that's in the cooker.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, bro.
Where can we find you on social media?
Everywhere. You can Google Quincy Carr, you'll pull up all my stuff, quincycarr.com. If you find me on TikTok or even on Instagram, it's either Quincy Carr or Quality Comedy King. Quality Comedy is my brand. So, and then on Facebook, it's the same thing, just Quincy Carr, and you'll find all my stuff. It's not hard to find me out there. So if you look, you shall find.
Quincy, you're a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, you have to talk about that because you're a Philly fan.
No. I wanted to bring my cup today.
Oh, that's right. You're a Green Bay fan. Yeah. Hold up. No.
I wanted to, take a sip of victory.
Yeah. No. It was the other young lady that was the Philly fan because her family lit into me.
Yeah, it was like a room filled with like Eagles fans.
And we were playing that.
Yeah.
But y'all hurt our feelings once again.
Hey.
And it hurt. Bad.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so it hurt bad enough, but I was so desensitized by the 20 plus years of failure.
Yeah.
I sat there and I just like, yeah, it's happening. From the first quarter, when we went off sides and when we got the face mask penalty, when we kept getting all the, I was like, yep,
it's happening.
It's happening. We are cursing. And I just found out today, there's a video out there of Jerry Jones, because I've been saying that we're cursed until Jerry rights his wrong by putting Jimmy in the Hall of Fame, which he did. He put him in the Ring of Honor for the Cowboys, but that didn't work.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's what he said in '93. He said, I can win a Super Bowl with any coach. And that's why Jimmy left. So that arrogance, that's what caused him to say this that I just found out today, because we won a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson, but it was Jimmy Johnson's team.
Right.
It wasn't a coach that built his own team. So what Jerry Jones said was for the third Super Bowl, and I think he said it because he had to make good on his promise that he said, I can win a Super Bowl with any coach. He said, and I quote, God, if you let me win this Super Bowl, I will never ask for another Super Bowl again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what. Do you think God don't play, man?
I don't think
we had the hole in the roof, and it was explained in Texas Stadium before we moved to Jerry's World that the hole was there intentionally. Yeah, that's what they call it. They said the hole in the roof was there intentionally.
Yeah.
so God can shine his light down on the Cowboys. That's why the Cowboys were always so successful. But when Jerry doubled down on a dumb thing that he said about Jimmy Johnson, which was the second greatest coach in it, because y'all couldn't beat us.
Yeah, we had a hard time.
In the 90s?
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah.
Y'all could not beat us.
Yeah.
And ever since, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Jerry made really a deal with the devil, but he made a deal with God. He begged him to let me please win this third Super Bowl. And if you let me win this third Super Bowl, I'll sound like I made the best choice in the world.
Right.
And God said, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And guess what you won't be able to do for the next 30 years? Jerry would never in his wildest dreams in 1994, 92, 93, 94 say, I'll never get another one for 30 years.
Yeah.
He could have never thought that that would never happen.
Amazing.
And it's been happening.
Yeah.
And now that I know that it's beyond the Cardinal, it's beyond what Jimmy Johnson getting into the Ring of Honor. It has everything to do with he made a deal with God.
Wow.
And God has honored it, which goes to show if you pray to him,
Jerry, get right, dog.
if you pray to him and if you ask him for what you want, he knows exactly what you want. And he'll get it to you. Trust.
Now, I'm with you on that. But we are accepting new fans, so you can cross over to the green.
That was about as disrespectful. Look, bro, I'm always gonna be a fan of the Cowboys. Now, I don't wear insignias and do all that extra stuff because I just promote my brand because they don't do anything for me. If they lose, they still get paid. If I lose, I don't get paid. So, but I'm still gonna be a fan. I'm just a realistic fan.
Okay.
I will never watch them have a good season and say, this is our year. I've never said that. You want to know why? Because I understand that we had karma. Now, this season, I understand. Jerry made a deal with God, and God has honored it. And that is that. The Cowboys may never win again, but we'll be the most profitable, most popular franchise in sports history.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Ladies and gentlemen, Quincy Carr.
I'm so upset right now. Why did he even bring up the game? Oh my God. Drink some water.
We out of here, y'all. Thank you. Man, that was good, dog. Oh my goodness, that was good, man. I needed that, bro.
Yeah, bro. Thank you, man.
Man, thank you, man.
Yeah.
No, for real, thank you, man. Like, God is up to something, man.
Yeah, man.
God is up to something, man. Like, I did Jack Knight like 2 weeks ago. I did Tyler Rain last week. I got you. I got like another entrepreneur in the city like next week. I'm just filled with gratitude, man.
Yeah, And sorry, some of the stuff, like when I was talking, a little long-winded. So,
bro, no, you're good.
Yeah,
I don't see a lot of edit in this. You know what I'm saying at all. I'm letting you check it out first.
Yeah.
But I don't see no edit in this, man. No, I want the truth, bro. I want the truth. That's what this is about.